slate pencils and marbles. I urge in excuse that Edward was a very little boy. A bit of plasticine, 1 or 2 bits of wood. 'No time to sort 'em,' said Gustus, and putting the lantern in a suitable position, he got out the glass and began to look through it at the tumbled heap. And the heap began to grow. It grew out sideways till it touched the walls of the recess, and outwards till it touched the top of the recess, and then it slowly worked out into the big cave and came nearer and nearer to the boys. Everything grew: stones, putty, money, wood, plasticine. Edward patted the growing mass as though it were alive, and he loved it, and Gustus said, 'Here's clothes and beef and bread and tea and coffee and baccy and a good school and me a engineer. I see it all a growing and a growing.' 'Hi! Stop!' said Edward suddenly. Gustus dropped the telescope. It rolled away into the darkness. 'Now you've done it,' said Edward. 'What?' said Gustus. 'My hand,' said Edward. 'It's fast between the rock and the golden things. Find the glass and make it go smaller, so that I can get my hand out.' But Gustus could not find the glass, and what is more, no one ever has found it to this day. 'It's no good,' said Gustus at last. 'I'll go and find your father. They must come and dig you out of this precious Tom Tiddler's ground.' 'And they'll lag you if they see you. You said they would,' said Edward, not at all sure what lagging was, but sure that it was something dreadful. 'Write a letter and put it in his letter box. They'll find it in the morning.' 'And leave you pinned by the hand all night? Likely, I don't think,' said Gustus. 'I'd rather,' said Edward bravely, but his voice was weak. 'I couldn't bear you to be lagged, Gustus. I do love you so.' 'None of that,' said Gustus sternly. 'I'll leave you the lamp. I can find my way with matches. Keep up your pecker and never say die.' 'I won't,' said Edward bravely. 'Oh, Gustus!' That was how it happened that Edward's father was roused from slumbers by violent shakings from an unknown hand, while an unknown voice uttered these surprising words: 'Edward is in the gold and silver and copper mine that we found under your garden. Come and get him out.' When Edward's father was at last persuaded that Gustus was not a silly dream, and this took some time, he got up. He did not believe a word that Gustus said, even when Gustus added, 'So help me,' which he did several times. But Edward's bed was empty, his clothes gone. Edward's father got the gardener from next door, with, at the suggestion of Gustus, a pick. The hole in the rockery was enlarged, and they all got in. And when they got to the place where Edward was, there, sure enough, was Edward, pinned by the hand between a piece of wood and a piece of rock. Neither the father nor the gardener noticed any metal. Edward had fainted. They got him out. A couple of strokes with the pick released his hand, but it was bruised and bleeding. They all turned to go, but they had not gone 20 yards before there was a crash and a loud report like thunder, and a slow, rumbling, rattling noise, very dreadful to hear. 'Get out of this quick, sir,' said the gardener. 'The roof's fell in. This part of the caves ain't safe.' Edward was very feverish and ill for several days, during which he told his father the whole story, of which his father did not believe a word. But he was kind to Gustus, because Gustus was evidently fond of Edward. When Edward was well enough to walk in the garden, his father and he found that a good deal of the shrubbery had sunk, so that the trees looked as though they were growing in a pit. It spoiled the look of the garden, and Edward's father decided to move the trees to the other side. When this was done, the first tree uprooted showed a dark hollow below it. The man is not born who will not examine and explore a dark hollow in his own grounds, so Edward's father explored. This is the true story of the discovery of that extraordinary vein of silver, copper, and gold which has excited so much interest in scientific and mining circles. Learned papers have been written about it. Learned professors have been rude to each other about it. But no one knows how it came there except Gustus and Edward and you and me. Edward's father is quite as ignorant as any one else, but he is much richer than most of them. And at any rate he knows that it was Gustus who first told him of the gold mine, and who risked being lagged, arrested by the police, that is, rather than let Edward wait till morning with his hand fast between wood and rock. So Edward and Gustus have been to a good school, and now they are at Winchester, and presently they will be at Oxford. And when Gustus is 21 he will have half the money that came from the gold mine. And then he and Edward mean to start a school of their own, and the boys who are to go to it are to be the sort of boys who go to the summer camp of the Grand Redoubt near the sea, the kind of boy that Gustus was. So the spy glass will do some good after all, though it was so unmanageable to begin with. Perhaps it may even be found again, but I rather hope it won't. It might really have done much more mischief than it did, and if any one found it, it might do more yet. There is no moral to this story, except... But no, there is no moral. End of Story 2. Recording by Ruth Golding.